Hi, I'm Tim Johnson, Senior Editor at American Woodworker magazine, and today I'm going to show you how to build this simple crosscut sled. It's great for squaring the ends of large pieces of plywood or for cutting tenons on long, heavy timbers. These operations are difficult if you only have a miter gauge. As you can see, the sled sits entirely on one side of the blade. This allows leaving the blade guard on the saw while you make cuts. The sled has a zero clearance edge, a stout fence, and it's guided by a single runner that fits in the slot for the miter gauge. If you want to use this sled with a dado set, you have to build it on the right side of the saw, and that side is the same side that the fixed arbor washer is on, so that when you add the dado cutters, they extend away from the sled instead of into it. This will maintain the zero clearance edge. Make the runner out of 1/4 inch tempered hardboard. This material is perfect because it's stable and it isn't susceptible to seasonal movement caused by changes in humidity. The way the runner fits in the miter gauge slot is critical. It must fit and slide smoothly without binding or wiggling from side to side. To locate the runner on the bottom of the sled, measure the distance from the miter slot to the saw blade. Add 1 inch and mark the sled. Then use a carpenter's square, align it with the line you just marked, and make a second mark. To keep the runner from flexing when you install it, clamp on a board that has a jointed straight edge on the 2 lines that you've just marked on the sled. Before you install the runner, drill a series of countersunk pilot holes evenly spaced for the screws. Position the runner on the sled, flush at both ends, then hold it against the fence and drill the pilot holes into the sled. Install the screws starting at the center and working towards the ends. Hold the runner against the fence when you install each screw. It works best to install these small screws by hand. Now that I've installed the runner, the next step is to flip the sled over and cut its zero clearance edge. I'm going to install the runner in the groove and test. I can see that it fits really well, slides beautifully, and it's not wobbling at all. So now I'm going to back it off, raise the blade, and make the cut. Okay, I've turned the sled upside down and I've just drilled a series of countersunk pilot holes through it. We're going to use this pilot hole to fix the fence near the saw blade. These 4 holes at this end, we'll use one of them to set the fence and we'll use the other 3 holes to adjust it. I want to take a minute to mention the sled itself. I've used 1/2 inch melamine to make it, and you can see that it's sized to fit the saw table and the support table. It's about the same size as both. Make the fence out of 6/4 stock using a hardwood such as poplar. Mill the faces flat and the edges square. This is about 2 inches tall and about 1 3/8 inches thick. Use a carpenter's square to align the fence with the zero clearance edge on the sled. Butt the square against the edge and butt the fence against the square. Align the ends of the fence and the zero clearance edge, and then clamp the fence in position. This doesn't have to be perfect because we'll adjust the fence later. We're just trying to get it close. Now we're going to extend the pilot holes into the fence itself at 2 locations. The first here near the saw blade to fix the fence at that end. And then we're going to use one of these 4 holes, this one, to temporarily fix the fence at this end. Once I've drilled the holes, it's just a matter of driving the screws. Now I'm going to make a test cut, and I'm going to use the results of the test cut to square the fence. Notice that the board that I'm using is quite large, fairly long, fairly wide. This will give me the best results. Now I'm going to use this piece to draw 2 lines. First I'm going to move it to the edge of the fence, and I'm going to draw 1 line. This is on the cut edge. Now I'm going to flip the piece over and draw a second line that's close to the first line, but spaced just a little bit. Now if these 2 lines are perfectly parallel, I know the fence is square. But if they converge or diverge, we're going to have to adjust the fence. So I can see by these lines, and you can actually measure them to make sure, but I can see by these lines that they're converging just a little bit. So we're going to have to adjust the fence. When the lines converge, it means that the cut is slightly more than 90 degrees. If the lines were diverging, it would mean that the cut was slightly less than 90 degrees. Because our lines converge, I know that I need to adjust the fence to reduce the angle of the cut. And to do that, I'm going to use a block and some playing cards. What I'm going to do is insert, I think, 2 playing cards in this instance, between the block and the fence. And then I'm going to clamp this block in position. Next, I'm going to remove the screw that we installed to hold this end of the fence in position. Now, I'm going to remove the playing cards, move the fence forward, and clamp it in position. Now I've adjusted the fence slightly to reduce that angle. Hopefully I'll get it to 90 degrees. I can remove this block now. And what I want to do is drill out one of these holes, another one of my adjustment holes, and install another screw. If your 2 lines diverge, it means you have to increase the fence angle. The process is very similar, except this time we're going to position the block against the fence without the playing cards. Now I'm going to remove the screw. And then install the cards. Again, I'm using 2 cards here, but you can use 1, 2, 3, however many you think you need. I'm going to clamp the fence in this new position, and then drill another pilot hole, install another screw, and repeat my test. If the 2 lines are parallel, the fence is square. If they aren't, we'll just repeat until they are. Okay, I've made another test cut after making that fence adjustment, and my lines are now parallel. That means that my fence is square, so all that remains is to drill some additional holes and drive some additional screws to secure the fence.